Yes. What it do? Check, check, 1, 2. In the house. What's up, everybody? This is exciting. This is a much larger viewership than we even expected, so I know we're doing the right thing. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Excellent. That's what's up. Big up all my friends in the chat. That's too many to name. And right off the bat, I want to give a big shout out to Small Town Pete, Stevie B, my brother Kevin Scott, DJ Zimmy, Alex Greggs, who remastered the audio and video for us, Stevie B, who helped us rip the DVD, Morse Code for playing a sick pre-party set for everyone who was in there. That was incredible. I laughed. I cried. I had memories. That was beautiful. And we're going to do some more of that in a moment. And DJ Ivy, thank you so much for all your help with the graphics. We're doing an after party with DJ Fashion after this. And big up the whole squad. Of course, Stephen Griffin, Valerie Mills, Gina Turner, Luisa, Brian Linares, everyone who threw this party and brought us to this point. So real quickly, without getting too deep, because we're going to talk about this a little bit later, I've had this DVD right here for many, many years in a drawer of things to remember that I have. It was handed to me in 2009 by Stephen Griffin, and I was told that it was a close-up shot of DJ AM's hands from the night that he played at Avenue, and that there was no audio or bad audio or something. So I put it in a drawer, and I just knew it was there. And long story short, we looked at it last November, and it turned out that it was what you are about to see. And so the first thing I did was contact my friend Kevin Scott, who we're going to bring on at any moment. And what we realized very quickly that we had was a full live set from DJ AM. And we kind of had to figure out what to do with it. Kevin, are you there? He'll be on any second. Here he is. There's my brother, DJ Kevin Scott.
What up, Mike?
DJ Kevin Scott is legendary and obviously a very good friend of AM's and myself, and handles the DJAMlives.com and Instagram, where we keep our friend alive and try to consistently bring you new music that you maybe haven't heard from him, and tell the stories and kind of get these things right, because as we go on, we continue to see the relevance of our friend and what he did for music and what he did for us, and his impact continues to be felt. And I think one of the most interesting things about this show that we're about to see is that I guess you just never know when music history is getting made, or like what it's going to mean. Like, Kevin, you could tell a little more of the story of this night, but it's like at the time, obviously we didn't know that this was going to be a big event. I mean, what do we have going on right now? We have about 150 people watching on Valentine's Day, which is, I couldn't have asked for more. It shows us that we're doing the right thing. And who knew that this Riverside show would bring us so much excitement and bring us all together in this time? And everyone is so excited about it. It is crazy. I see DJ Vice in the chat. I see DJ Homicide. Nika Palooza is moderating. Nikki was obviously a LAX mainstay. I see DJ Yoli, who is an incredible young DJ who I met at the Travis AM t-shirt in store when she was like 18 or 19, and she just said AM was a huge inspiration to her. And I see Fashion and DJ Spider, and I see everyone that should be here, and it makes me really happy that we can all still do this. Kevin, what do you're one of the few people who have seen this show. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm totally surprised by it. I mean, I went with him to this gig, and it's pretty random that I ended up somehow in this video that you found. But I mean, basically, like Adam liked to have road dogs go with him to gigs, you know. And
Straight up.
this gig was in Riverside, and for people who don't live in California, all right, Adam's in LA County. I live in Orange County, and then on the way from Orange County, you go to Riverside County where this gig was. So basically, AM just hit me up, and he's like, "Yo, you're on the way to this gig that I'm going to do. I'm going to swoop you up," and we're going.
Classic.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to a gig. I mean, it was like a weeknight, you know, so I wasn't working, and he knew that. So, yeah, he swooped me up, and he's like, "We're going to go rave in Riverside," and I was like, "Cool, let's go rave in Riverside," you know. And that's all I basically knew at the time, you know. And
You
then,
you I, you on that stage when I was first watching this tape and I was explaining to you what was going on and I was like, "Wait, I see you." Like you were there and you look like you're definitely not like totally comfortable in the rave environment.
well, the thing is like I was completely stoked.
Like you're like, "What if like I'm in Riverside. I've been to that party too. That is crazy energy." Like that was like there was Banana Split, but yo, like these kids at Avenue, like they were wild, man. Like
Yeah, I was like walking into a glove stop, you know. It's like Stone
yeah.
Cold when we walk in and the place is on 100, you know. And you know, Adam's like classic move is like, you know, hey, take as many pictures and film as much as you can. So you'll see me in there. I'm holding this little shitty camera from like 2008, you know, filming for him, you know, which obviously I've looked at them and you've looked at them. They kind of look like,
Yeah. We have some
but
alternate angles and
yeah,
things and kind of other stuff that we're gonna slowly unleash. That'll all be on the DJ AM Lives
right,
platforms.
right.
So make sure to check up on those.
Yeah, we'll be posting like this, and then we'll make another cut that has some of the stuff that I filmed from that night. You know, just like the little crappy camera shots that kind of sync up so it looks good.
And hopefully between this large group of people and the promoters and everyone that are going to come on and by the way after we show the show we're going to have special guests and people who were there to kind of talk about the night and share some memories.
Yep.
um, but yeah, I lost my train of thought there. This is what happens when you do live stuff. I'm overwhelmed by the attendance right now. I'm so excited that everyone's here. But what were you saying?
I was listening to you, man, but I
Oh, right
mean,
on.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was, I, I've completely lost my train of thought. Shout out to Jesse Marco in the chat and DJ Spider again. Wow, I'm like, I'm getting nervous and excited. This is very rare. I'm usually much more laid back, but this feels really real right now. I will say that I am. You can't walk a mile in a man's shoes, but I've walked many miles in this pair of DJ AM's Supreme SB Dunks. As you see, they're stained up and used up because that fool kept everything in the closet. But he used to squeeze his big ass feet into these. He was a 13, and these are a 11. But he wanted to stunt so bad that he wore them once. But I scooped them
Rich
up because
Dakota.
they're 11, so I rock them when we're respecting him or anytime I play like a throwback Banana Split set or anything like that.
Nice.
Um, and I think this set is interesting because we've heard recordings from Banana Split and we all know kind of what Banana Split, but one of the more interesting things that most of us have never touched on was the ripple effect that Banana Split had, and that what we did at Banana Split, we did benevolently. Like Adam, by being there every Sunday, was actively turning his back on huge amounts of money
Right.
every Sunday night. He could have been anywhere playing for any amount of money, and he was there giving away free beer. You know, paying the staff and everything just to do a dope party because we knew that this music was bigger than like all of us combined. Like myself, Steve Aoki, Adam, like all of the combinations of things were so exciting, and what got created there was this new this new version of open format where not only were you playing, it was cool to play like Guns N' Roses and Puff Daddy in one night, but it was also like even cooler to play like Daft Punk and like Redman in one night, and like Baltimore club remixes of oldies. Like you could hit them with those KW Griff remixes and have like a little touch of you could hear Mr. Postman but with big drums, and then go into something you never heard. And like it was really exciting. And then to see, I think that why this set ends up being relevant, not unlike when you like, like when a caveman like died in the sand thousands of years ago. He doesn't know that he's going to be like in a museum forever and gawked at by people. When they recorded this, I remembered what I wanted to say, by the way. When they recorded this set, like, and Steven handed it to me that day, like, if we had known back then that it was a live set, we would have just like all had it then, and it would have just been something that exists on the internet. But it was buried like a hidden treasure, and we have like excavated it, and now we're all here to gather around and watch it in a museum together at a time where, honestly, I think we could use a sick party.
Yeah. And the wild
You
thing
know,
about
and there's a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time. I see Shelby D in the
Shelby,
chat.
what up, Shelby?
The
Yeah,
big up to Shelby.
the thing
What?
I was going to say is the thing about this is like Adam felt a little bit trapped at this point in time. This is 2008. This is pre-plane crash. He's at the height of his powers, in terms of his DJing, and all the commercial gigs were not that exciting to him anymore at this point. He loved playing a lot of this style of music, more like rave oriented stuff, the stuff you guys were doing at Banana Split. So an opportunity for him to go out and do this gig with the homie Gina in Riverside was like really appealing at that point in time to him. Like he would drop everything and be like, yo, I'm going to go do it for free, just to like be a part of like something that he really liked, So this is like a passion thing for him in 2008. Like this is him like wanting to be like, just to play records, just to get out,
And
and
this gig is like, this is about a year after, like a year almost to the date after the Daft Punk shows.
Right.
So he was now like very comfortable being in public and had come a long way from like the Us Weekly days, and what Bananas, one of the reasons that it all came together was, he and I were both huge fans of raves and rave culture, and we knew that like Banana Split had to happen at all costs, and like this music like had to have a platform. And then he knew that it couldn't just be in Hollywood, because not everyone could go to Hollywood, and we were 21 and over. And that's why I think when he heard that there was like this Gina was like, there's a sick party in Riverside, that's all ages, and they're ready to go, and like they know who you are, and they love you, and they're like ready to rock. Like he would go out and do stuff like that. I mean, I played at Avenue. I remember Steve Wonder road dogged it with me to that, and was like equally like, where the fuck am I? I went there with Stretch Armstrong, and he played there for like a few $100. Like there was something special about it. Was still close to L.A. You could drive there, but it was like an adventure. Like you were going to a kind of uncharted territory, but you got there and the kids were psyched.
Right.
That you were there, and they were ready to party, and the DJs they had at that party were dope. Like shout out to Hyphy Crunk, shout out to Billy Norlag, the filmers. Crazy Chris used to come down and film Banana Split, and Neil Favila and that whole crew, man. Like they were on point. And what I was gonna say earlier was, hopefully, now that we have the attention of 240 people, and have all the crew from Avenue in the house, what you may notice when you watch this movie is that there are several people on stage with over-the-shoulder camera rigs and microphones, and there's a lot of people filming. So hopefully what we might be able to get, if anyone knows who that guy with the camera over his shoulder is, like, get at him and find out where these other angles are. Like we might have the other. I will say that this set is 49 minutes long. It ends when the memory card runs out or whatever. So there's no big like crescendo or finale. But you know, it's gonna rock. But we may very well live to see the rest of it one of these days. Maybe somebody put another memory card in the camera. Maybe somebody has this stuff backed up on the hard drive. I mean, somebody had to burn this DVD, right? Like, who made this? Who, Steven, who made this? How do we have this? We must have answers. Is there anything else that you want to say before it's time to party? I think we've made, there were people in the waiting room, like at 5:30, there was like 60 people in there. And I was like, yo, that's why we're doing this. Like, I thought they might give a shit, and they do. So shout out to everybody.
Yeah, I would.
AM was the best, and not only was he the best, but even better than it is to listen to AM is to watch AM. And that is why we all loved being in the booth. That is why you would road dog to Riverside with him, because you knew no matter where you went, you didn't have to. It didn't matter if there was, sexy people at the party, what was going on, whether it was celebrities or 17-year-olds. If you sat in the booth and you watched him and you watched his hands and his eyes and the decisions that he makes and the fact that he's never not doing something. So to have this video shot from this angle that is static, that does not move, much like one of us when we were discomforted by, as discomforted as you were at raves when I would road dog with him to like the CAA Christmas party, and it was just like Madonna running around and stuff like that. I would just sit next to the DJ booth and watch him do the turntables, and it would completely zone out everything else that was going around you, even at Banana Split. That's why like DJ Premier could come into the booth at Banana Split, because as long as you kept your eyes on that mixer and you saw him doing his little like, it's just electric, man. And in this set, he had Serato. He had now been on Serato for a few years, and it's like he never shuts up. Like, he never shuts up with those turntables. Like, he's like sometimes it's so smooth you can't even tell he's doing little buildups. And this is before all your dicers and slicers and the mixer could trigger everything. You know what I mean? Like, he's like in there like looping on the fly and hitting buttons and so make sure to watch his hands and to turn it up loud, because it was remastered by Alex Greggs and it sounds pretty bumping considering.
It does. Not super distorted like most of the stuff out there. It sounds good. Yeah, I would just say last thing, like for anybody who's really interested in AM's history or whatever, I kind of set up the DJ AM Lives Instagram, YouTube, and the website djamlives.com, so that a lot of this stuff has a place to reside and to live. And so for people who want to go down memory lane or whatever and get inspired by their boy AM, like, there's a place for you. So if you haven't already, check out those links. I update. I don't update like all the time, but I go in like waves and I add stuff as I find it or as I'm in the mood to add things. But there will be more mixes. Hopefully we'll find more videos and stuff like this. But this is kind of a holy grail moment. I feel like there's not a lot of really high quality, good sound, long playing video of Adam like this. Just doesn't really exist. So this is really dope. So let's hit him with it.
Let's hit him with it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, DJAMLives.com presents to you DJ AM live at Avenue, July 9th, 2008.
Let's go.
Please enjoy.
cheap thrill. Cheap thrill. Cheap thrill. Cheap thrill.
I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. What the fuck is you gonna do about it? Steal some record man. Go to that record store. Steal some record man. Go to that record store. Steal some record man. Go to that record store. Steal some record man. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Yeah, I'm hustling, baby. That's what my dad's made me. Steal some record man. Go to that record store. Steal some record man. Go to that record store. Steal some record man. Go to that record store.
Every time I think of you, I know we have to meet. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. And when rains are shining down to me, I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. Just like a rainbow, you know you set me free. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. to the gang, up in this thing, to the rock, my nigga came. Pouring it up, rolling it up, holding it up, ain't her ass swollen up, boys. Yes sir, oh, we gon' take it back like these and balls. Nasty as I wanna be, that make it too loud for your crew. Oh, get down, get low. I'm crossing these marks like tic-tac-toe. Let's ride, let's go. Get loose, get caught, get drunk, get blowed. Let's ride, let's roll. MIAATL for show.
Yes, sir.
I am not. I will not apologize for party rocking. No apologies for party rocking. You never. You, all y'all out there, if we learned anything from tonight, you do not apologize for party rocking.
Oh, that was
Sorry.
dope. That was dope, man. Everybody in the chat, that was awesome. Really felt
Oh
like a
man,
party.
that was crazy. Yo, my neighbors are in my living room drinking hard seltzers right now, like getting it on. It's lit. I can't see the chat or anything. I was busy dancing and sweating and crying
And
and see, man, what
you almost missed the comeback too. He was
I
nowhere to be.
almost I did a John Belushi, you know.
Yeah, man.
Um, but we had to get it in. That was crazy, man. I couldn't have asked for a better turnout and a more fantastic group of people, man. Like
Yeah, you guys
it
were
feel,
tight.
this feels like Banana Split. Like I see everyone that was there, you know. I know we're all having fun watching it, and I don't know. Maybe it's almost poetic that it cuts off the way it does because I mean I don't know, man. This never ends, you know. Like because
Yeah,
what
I mean,
happened at the end, probably someone else got on after, and he probably had a few more songs. We'll hear it one day. We'll find that other camera.
if I remember right, I think we shut it down. I think he closed it
Did he
out.
play all the way to the end of
Yeah,
the night?
because like he jumped on kind of late, you know. And then he played like I think it was a little longer than that, maybe maybe an hour or so set. Gina might remember more than me on that, but I do remember. I think we shut it down or close to it.
That's what's up. Well, is Gina backstage?
Yeah, let's
Do
bring
we
him in.
do we have Gina? Let's bring Gina Turner in, and we could tell a little more of the story. We got the story of you driving up to the gig. We've now seen the gig.
Yep.
And so if anyone who doesn't know, that was Gina Turner and Louisa DJing before as Staccato. No, Zimmy, Gina is not Valerie. So if she's not back there, maybe she's not back there. So let's okay, Gina's not back there. So unfortunately, we don't have Gina Turner, but what we do have, I guess who could speak on behalf of it, Louisa was supposed to join us, but she is in Paris, and it's 3 in the morning. So Zimmy, if you could run that video we have of Louisa. DJ Zimmy Mac Mini in the house. Big up to DJ Zimmy.
Yeah, for holding it down.
Who has killed this for us.
Hey guys, and thank you Mike B and Kevin Scott and Zimmy for putting this together. It's really
No problem.
a special thing to be a part of, and I'm sorry I'm not there live, but it's 3 a.m. in Paris and I'm a lazy person, a grown-up. No! But yeah, it was really, really incredible to rewatch this footage. I'd never seen it before, but I was there. Oh my god! I was there. Though Gina Turner, hey Gina, is the by far more charismatic member of our duo. What is that? We don't need a record for transitions. Give me the mic. Incredible. It was really, really nice to remember what it was like to watch Adam play. I think it was this night specifically that I can recall my first, what would go down in history as sober blackouts from having too much fun. Where I remember coming to pounding this stage with my fists and being like, how did I get here? Because he was playing like Red Hot Chili Peppers into like the 5th Daft Punk song of the night, and it was just like such a enthusiasm for music, such a musical style of DJing, such like a reverence and not taking himself too seriously, and really playing to be of service to the crowd that's there, like without any pretension and with unmatched enthusiasm and skill and joy. You know, it was like something really magical to watch someone do what they're born to do, and every time one would watch Adam play, it was like that. And yeah, on a kind of more personal level, to remember like what it was like to watch him do his thing. And at that point, I think I was only like a couple years sober, and to know that he was helping so many people and like living this way of life, and that it was possible to do this job and to be a DJ really gave me so much hope. I can't even begin to describe like the service that he provided just by being who he was and doing what he did. And like I struggle to remember another time, another moment within our kind of dance music culture that we were having that much fucking fun. And it's really nice to kind of see how this lawlessness, this like, yes, you can fucking play every genre in your set, and you can play 5 Daft Punk songs, and you can do whatever you want because you love music, it's trickled down into the way I see a lot of our contemporaries play, and we blame Adam, and it's what a joy to get to watch him. So thank you for helping me remember.
Yes.
Oh,
That is my lovely longtime friend and legend, Luisa, who has, traveled on to Paris to be a massive rock star. Last time I was out in Paris, like people were literally trying to jump over the ropes while she was DJing to like grope her and grab her. She is absolutely slaying it, and she is the shit. And I wish we had Gina here because Lord knows she has stories, but we do not. I've sent her the StreamYard link, so she might come in. But until then, let's bring in, without further ado, the crew from Avenue. Let's bring in the squad. Yeah, what up?
I'm all choked up now. I'm like crying.
Oh my god, I've been crying and dancing when that Depeche Mode like first dropped. I was just standing there, like I just went out in the living room and I turned it up really loud and I was dancing, and like when that Depeche Mode riff dropped, I just like lost my shit, and it was so crazy to see all of our friends in the chat and like see you guys, and I'm glad that we're all here to live on to tell this story. Steven, who handed me this DVD. Is there anything you can say about how did this come to? You guys just knew to put a camera there.
I mean, actually, we had talked about it with Mark Rodriguez, Hyphy Crunk, and because he was doing all the production for us back then. And so, yeah, it was like, he was like, dude, like we should set up a camera right here. And I think
shout out to Hyphy Crunk, man. That's my dog.
Who would have known?
It was great because we had it also it was like on the big screen of the projector, because the idea was, I remember we wanted everyone in the back.
Oh, you had it so you could see his hands?
Yeah, we wanted everyone in the back. We were packed that night. We wanted everyone to be able to see what was happening. That was the idea, and that was Mark. I do credit Mark for that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I didn't realize, I saw him on the stage, but I didn't realize until you sent the flyer last night that he had played and that he was involved. I would have loved to have had him here. If anyone doesn't recognize, Valerie was the very crunk young lady on stage with the mullet. And you guys were both like very much involved in the scene. I remember you guys were always at Tuesdays and Sundays, and sometimes at CineSpace, sometimes at Dance at Arena.
I was just thinking back, I'm like, I don't know how Banana Split kicked off the week. It was Sunday, and then we literally would go out Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
There was no rest. Yeah.
No.
Then you had the Heist on Thursdays. You had Hyphy Crunk, and then Wednesdays at Bordner's, Tuesdays at CineSpace or the Arena, and then you guys were a Monday night, right?
We were also like hustling really hard. We had to get people to come out to Riverside. It was harder to like get people to bring them out. So we were working on that all the time.
It was in Riverside too. So that was even harder to get people to make that trip over there.
That was Kevin Scott's first trip to the Riverside blog party.
Yeah, well, I remember how it kind of happened too, is because I remember it was when we had Steve play that night, and Brian comes to me and he was like, hey, he's like, you might want to clear out a couple parking spots up front. And he's like, AM's coming. And I was like, yeah, right. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And then so like, I was like, so we like hurried up and like, you know, like cleared some spots for him, like to like park up front. And yeah, he like came through and he like loved it. And I remember talking to him and he was just like, he's like, I want to play. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if we can afford you, man.
Yeah.
And
you
like,
couldn't. None of us could, man.
Play. Dude, yeah, like it was just awesome though. He was just like, talk to Matt, I want to play. And I was like, all right, like, yeah. So
that's what I was saying earlier was that when he did these gigs, even when he did Banana Split, I mean, he owned that club, but like, you know, it wasn't like he was getting like a revenue share on the bars those nights. Like anytime that he played these parties, whether it was Cinespace or Avenue or even his own party Banana Split, like he was turning his back on tens of thousands of dollars. Because he knew that there had to be a balance and he needed to undo years of, I mean, I don't want to say getting caught up because he's doing what he wanted to do, but he had to come back. Like he was a real DJ and he loved music. And for a minute, he left us all and was, you know, on the front page of Us Weekly. And he had to make this kind of like, he had to come back and not just kill it and leave, but let us know that he was like down with this shit and that he was like, he was gonna give it to the people that couldn't afford it because like they needed to see that shit. You know what I mean? Like
I remember being so nervous around him, and every time I would see him at Banana Split or wherever else, I would always reintroduce myself and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm Valerie." Hi. And he's like, "I know who you are. I know who you are." Stop. Like he would tell me that every time, but I would just feel the need to because I was so starstruck by him in a way. But then he would, you know, he was just so kind and so gracious. And I remember when he played, he's not like pretentious at all. A lot of DJs are pretentious or they would play stuff that I didn't know. And I'm just like every one of those Riverside kids out there. And he would just come and play Red Hot Chili Peppers and 5 Daft Punk songs. And he would be so accessible.
How crazy is that mix where he loops up the Red Hot Chili Peppers all around the world thing and goes into the around the world, like the speed and agility in that moment. Well, front to back, that set, like watching it with fresh eyes just now and not from like we need to fix the sound and how are we going to show the standpoint, but just going out and dancing and listen to it live. Like you have an audio recording?
I have the audio recorded, and it's somewhere on my old iPod that I need to find.
Front to back, like even the
front to back,
here?
clear, like
yes,
we need that.
And
we need that. So we will have it.
Yeah, I need to find it.
That'll be on djamlives.com when we find it. That's why we're doing this. I wanted us all to party together and experience this together. As soon as I put this DVD in, when I found it in November, like I wrote Kevin right away and like sent him like the link because I was like, if something happens, like God forbid, I like get in a car accident on the way home. I was like, this is like this precious. It was like bringing a fossil into the museum. I needed to like dust it off. And
I don't remember there being the physical DVD. So good job again, Steve. I don't remember that at all.
I remember he handed it to me shortly after AM's passing, and you said it's a video of his hands. And at the time, I just thought to myself, like, cool, man, and like. But I knew there was something about it that was like, it wasn't just like in a pile of stuff. It was in a drawer of like, you know, documents and one of a kind, like letters from people and things like that. Like I just kind of knew, but I always just didn't have audio or anything. As you see, it did. When we got it, the audio was not what it was there. Alex Greggs from the South Raucous crew was kind enough to remaster the video and audio for us. And he like literally produced in sync and all this stuff. So he did an amazing job. That's why that bumped so hard. Is there anyone else backstage? Is Brian backstage or anyone, Zimmy, that we need to bring in? If anyone else is backstage, let's bring him in. But if not, let's tell. There is not anyone backstage. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Chat. I haven't looked at the chat since it was done, and if you've tried to text me sometime in the last hour, like, what are you doing? Get in the chat, and I'm sorry you missed it if you're texting me asking me what I'm doing or whatever. DJ Spider says, we here. Nika Palooza says, nothing but love. Morse Code says, haha. Does anyone have any questions for Steven or Val about the night? I know we had some people asking about the venue and the size. How long did the party run?
Yeah.
How long did you guys do Avenue?
Steve, I always saw this in the chat as well. I think there was conflicting. I know that on a good night, like I would judge a really, really, really good night if we had upstairs and downstairs. It was close to 1,000, but the bottom stairs only was like 400. But I don't remember.
400 and 200 above, but that never.
We always went over and no one cared. And it was at Sevilla's in Riverside, Sevilla's Nightclub.
Yeah. Yep. I remember the first time I went there was with Stretch Armstrong and Crames, and I went upstairs because I'm a smoker, and I spent a lot of the night up there, and I heard Billy Norlag for the first time, who was great.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard him before, and we went on to do a lot of stuff together. Actually, I used to bring him down to LA to play at Temporary Spaces, and I think we had him at Dre's a couple times. That was one of your guys. I really loved that party. I think I played twice.
Yeah,
I remember I went with Steve Wonder one time. He came with me, and then I think one time I went alone. But it was very similar energy to what we just saw.
It was such a treat for all those Riverside people because those people were driving out to LA multiple nights a week to go to all of y'all's clubs. And so to have people from LA come out and play for them in Riverside or in any of the IE area was such a treat.
Well, that's why we used to go to those things. We used to do like Dan Senna had his party at Detroit Bar in the OC. And then there was like, what was the name of the bar in Santa Ana?
I know what you're talking about.
Where Kayla was the bartender. And they used to have the Blog House night there. But we all used to go out
Detroit
to those.
Bar, someone's saying.
There was Detroit Bar, and then there was the Crosby.
Proof Bar.
Proof, yeah.
There we go, Proof.
Brian
Proof is what I'm talking about. That was with Kayla. Brian Linares is in the chat. What happened? He didn't want to be on camera. I respect that. Shout out to Brian Linares. Brian, I want to talk about Brian Linares, who was in many ways. Is that Hyphy Crunk?
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Hyphy Crunk.
So many friends are here. Hi guys.
I'm gonna send Hyphy Crunk the backstage link.
He's traveling
right now. Somebody asked if we are going to post this. We are. We are going to. This is a premiere event, and then this. I wanted to make sure that I got to experience this together and have a little party in this time where I think it's much needed.
Yeah.
And that sometime in the coming days, you could stay on top of what's going on at DJ AM Lives, either on Instagram or the website, and you will see it come up because that is DJ Kevin Scott's amazing labor of love, where he keeps our friend alive every day. I love waking up and seeing on Instagram. Whether it's like photos of an old set or pictures of his shoes or pictures of his records, it's nice to have him be active in our social media and stuff.
As much as I can, but we'll definitely, my plan always was like to archive as much AM stuff as possible. After we got done making the documentary, I was like looking at these hard drives of all this stuff that I had, and I'm like, well, what do I do with everything that we never used, So it's like just slowly kind of trying to put out more content and more education about AM's career as time passes, things get lost. And what I really want to do is just like bring that energy back and that inspiration that he brought. And, you saw it like in the chat room, playing a video of him playing. It was like watching him live all over again because it's been that many years. And,
right?
I have
especially watching him taking that whole journey where it's like, it gets crazier and faster, and he's scratching more and more, and like you're like, what is he gonna like? I just watched that with fresh eyes, and it was like, I was like, fuck, he's still the best. Like I still can't do any of this shit. And as much as trying to mimic what he was doing, kind of like informed what I ended up doing. Like, but there was definitely times like early on where I would just straight up like take something he did and try to do it. And the fact that I couldn't do it the same way as him is what like made it sound the way it did. You know, it's but like that's how I think that's what makes an ultimate musician. Like that's how you learn to play guitar or piano, right? You learn how to play favorite songs and then you do like variations on that. So like but like you're never going to be as good as Jimi Hendrix or Mozart or whatever. So it's like I would try to imitate AM's mixes or do some version of what he did, and that would just end up becoming what I did. And luckily people liked it. We have DJ Hyphy Crunk is in the house. The legend, the man, and the fact that he is still named DJ Hyphy Crunk after all these years.
Party rocking, bro.
I remember the first time I saw DJ Hyphy Crunk's name on the flyer, I was like, he's gonna regret that name because like those were both those were new genres at the time, and I was like, he's doubling down, quadrupling down on some new school shit. But Hyphy and Crunk are both very much a part of our vocabulary, as are you, sir. For anyone who doesn't know, DJ Hyphy Crunk was a great DJ and a self-starter, much like Valerie and Steven, who had a party in, I want to say, Fullerton?
Started.
Was when I first heard of you, right?
Yeah,
you had a party in Long Beach.
Yeah. Started in Long Beach.
And you always knew something was bubbling up when them Jeans and Dano went and played. Like they were always the like toe dip in the water where all of a sudden you'd be like, yo, like where the fuck is Fullerton and like why are DJ Dano and them
we
Jeans
had more
playing
luck
there?
with them in the beginning.
And then it was like, well, yeah, because they were down to come out, and then it would be like eventually, like it'd be like you would see it a couple weeks, and then someone would make a big play, and you would have like Junior Sanchez or Diplo or whatever it was, and then it was like, well, shit, like how come I'm not playing this party, like, and then you would have that effect, and then you eventually moved to Florentine Gardens.
Yeah.
Tonight we're at Quarantine Gardens.
Yeah, the fact that we were in Florentine Gardens is also like, what? Like,
dude, that shit was so crazy, bro. Like, we thought what we were doing at Banana Split and Cinespace was crazy, but the first time I walked into the heist, yo, I was like, I haven't felt scared like that since like I was going to hip hop shows in '94. Like, I walked in like, yo, these kids are fucking rough, bro. Like, they were going, there was mosh pits, and like the security was like, y'all do what you want, and like you would get
only club I've ever been kicked out of in LA during those times. And I was like, oh wait,
after a while,
that's amazing. It was the best. It was like, and it was intimidating being on that stage because you would play songs they would love and they would scream in that giant room. And it was Florentine Gardens. Like, if you're from LA and you grew up listening to Power 106, like you know what the fuck Florentine Gardens is, and like you probably never been in there. So like going in there and having like our run of the place and like rocking that shit, like that was special too. Did AM ever do the heist?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think he wore this shirt.
He did it twice.
What is? Oh, is that that's his? Is that his? Is that AM's Prodigy shirt?
His sister gave it to me after he passed on my birthday. She's like, I know you were a big fan of the Prodigy, and I was like, yeah. And she sent it to me, and I bust out special occasions. You know, this is a special occasion. But that I think he wore this Prodigy shirt. There's a famous picture of him like crowd surfing. I think it's at the heist. Yeah, and he's wearing this shirt. Yeah.
That's the one where he's wearing the black Jordan 4s and
threes.
Threes, right? The famous shot. That's the shirt that he's wearing.
Sure.
I'm so distracted by the shoes in that shot. I believe. I think Dano might have snapped that shot. Actually, I like that you see Dano across the stage for a second. Which is cool. What else do we have going? We have crowd surfing and confetti. I haven't looked at the chat in a while.
We had him twice.
One thing that was really cool to hear too is that they said that was actually AM's like, I think it was his first stage dive in one of those performances, where he was just like a kid in a candy store. He looked at us and was like, "Can we? Like, how many times can I do that?" we were like, keep going until
Yeah, right.
they
love
don't carry you anymore.
Well, well, I think that's an interesting point that I can shed a little bit of light on. Was that AM wasn't born an outgoing person, and he
Nope.
had a lot. He had a lot of anxiety and a lot of adversity as a young man, as we know. Anyone who's seen the movie knows that he comes from a difficult home life, and that he battled with drugs and being overweight, and that's what made him such a great DJ, was his drive to be the best at something. And he had to, like, he knew that if he could be as uncomfortable, like he used to be smoking cigarettes and 300 pounds and wearing all black, but still ripping it. Like that set that I played before him at Moomba, that's him on vinyl in 2002. He was a different person. And he did not hang out at clubs. And he, as soon as it was done, it was like, I'm going to get a cheeseburger, homie. Like, let's go. And he would just go and sit at home and start smoking cigarettes and downloading songs and practicing new routines and being like, I could get this shit better and do it more, and check this. Have you ever seen this? And as he went from that to the Paris Hilton life, where he was suddenly out all the time. And in conversations that I had with him at that time, he was even more uncomfortable a lot of the times. When, as much as he loved his group of friends, like he would go out and it was like Chad Muska and Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, obviously, like they were all very sweet, very cool people, but that was a very different vibe for him. And he went from wearing all black Dickies suits to wearing like a light blue Lacoste, and he loved those tan corduroys, and like all of a sudden he wasn't wearing Air Jordans anymore. He had like Stan Smiths, and he looked like a cute like Gentile country club man, except for that he had his faux hawk,
that was short-lived,
and his gold chain. But it was a thing, and he would go to Joseph's and Hyde and all these things with these people, and they would get bottles and get drunk. And not to tell too many tales out of school, but there was a couple occasions where he called me, like after they had passed out or whatever, and he was like, I hate drunk people, I hate nightclubs, I hate like yo, like I love Nicole, but like this shit is the worst. And that's kind of when this third version of him kind of started to happen, where he was hearing what Diplo was doing and Hollertronics, and he was seeing what Ed Banger was doing. And then Steve Aoki had a Saturday night with Sam Spiegel with Squeaky Clean at LAX called Hot Lava Saturdays. And he went one night, and he met Aoki for the first time. And I remember him saying to me, like, go ahead.
I was doing Fridays and Saturdays at LAX when it first opened, but he met Aoki at Cinespace on Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then he, because like I couldn't do both weekend nights anymore, and so they offered the Saturday night to Aoki and Benji Madden.
Yeah.
And so they took over Saturdays, and then that eventually led to Banana Split after that, right? I mean, they wanted to bring that like rave sound from Cinespace to LAX, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of the.
Well, he saw that there was a place where there were beautiful women and cool people that knew who he was and kind of didn't give a fuck, because they didn't know that he was a dope DJ. Like when he walked into Cinespace, it wasn't like, oh my God, there's DJ AM. It was like, what's that guy doing here? You know, like I think from a lot of the people, it's DJ Gina Turner.
Yo, I had like total mommy brain moment. I messed up the time, but now you're in the car with me, so I'm
fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you're here.
Hi. I got a heart-shaped pizza for my kid. We were like doing some Valentine's Day stuff, and like I totally messed up the time. Anyway,
it's all good. You got that mom life. Valerie knows. Everybody, Valerie just had a child. Was it 2 months ago?
Yeah, thank you.
Such a beautiful family. We are in awe of you. And Gina obviously is how you have three children now? Is that correct?
Well, I have one child. Yes.
Yes.
I have. She's in the back seat, and she was listening to you guys talk about Steve Aoki, and she's like, he helped my papa make Turbulence. Like, she's like so hip to everything you guys are talking about. I was
she knows what's up.
And funny story. Actually, the day I like met Evelina's father, Luke, AM called me out.
Oh, did we lose her?
Oh, we were just getting to the juicy part. She was dropping the big names. There we go. Come back.
Juicy.
There we go.
We were at Steve's like restaurant, his new restaurant, and
on the corner of Selma and like
yeah,
okay, right.
Yeah, me, Dano, them jeans, and then we're like laid back. Luke was playing Cinespace, right? So like that was like the day we met. And
was
AM
that the infamous night with the stolen CD and everything?
Someone stole. Yeah.
Somebody did steal it.
Someone stole Luke's CD. Anyway, long story short, AM walks up to me because I'm at a table with Luke and them jeans and Dano, and he's like, "Yo," he used to call me Hug Life because I have Hug Life tattooed on my fingers. He's like, "Yo, Hug Life, why are you acting all tough? You know you're geeking out right now to be sitting across from laid back Luke."
Hell yeah.
Fast forward, how many years later? Married, kid, we're divorced now. But you know, I got a great kid out of it. So
yeah, and you guys made some classic tracks and had a beautiful wedding and had a
yes.
Boricua is still a jam.
Yeah. Yo, dude. Oh wait, I was listening to you guys talk about, you know, the way AM used to go out, and I will never forget like the times where he would like kind of give me a pep talk, because those were my party girl days. You know what I'm saying?
You were lit.
We saw.
Gina was lit. It's well documented on the Cobra Snake.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was living my best life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was how I came to know who you were. I remember like in the very early days of Banana Split, I looked over to the table on the left and I was just like, she's getting her life on that table right now. Like, who is that? Like, you had so much personality. Like you were like look at me, but you weren't, you know, you stood out. You were obviously somebody, you know.
You know, I was hustling hard. I worked at American Apparel Echo Park, and then I started managing Turntable Lab on Fairfax, and then I was like playing for like drink tickets for like and $50 at like Vine Bar. I was hustling hard.
Some of us still do that.
Yeah, I was hustling hard. Yeah, and so what my whole point was, I remember Adam really giving me a couple talks, and he's like, "Don't be that girl in the corner, too messed up to party." And like, I was like, "Yeah," and I actually like that kind of advice really stuck with me through my years, because I don't know. He was just such a positive influence on my life. He was such a brother to me, where he was the best. And then when he was going out, this whole thing happened because I guess he heard about Steve playing one of the parties, right?
Right.
And then he was like, "I want to play that." I don't know if you already
no, we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But what we actually have, Zimmy, we'll give everybody a little taste of what Avenue was like, not just from the stage. We have the video that was cut together for the night that AM and Aoki played.
We used to put this on MySpace and the bulletins afterwards.
Yeah, you did. So here's a little taste, everybody.
I remember.
Bring on what you got tonight. You're my dog. She said, keep it tight.
dancing style.
Oh, look at that shirt off.
So funny.
Find me by the speaker, bouncing in my skull. Tell me if it's human, are you bringing it on? Hold me even closer, hold me to your neck. Tell me if it's human, are you bringing it on? Find me by the speaker, bouncing in my skull. Tell me if it's human, are you bringing it on? Hold me even closer, hold me to your neck. Tell me if it's human, are you bringing it on? What you got tonight, you're not done. She said keep it tight.
Why?
You sure what I did? You
I remember that so clearly.
you take what I owe. I believe, feel it thunder. You move on, cry go out. I believe, feel it thunder. You move on, cry go out. I believe, feel it thunder. You move on, cry go out. I believe.
The side chick. My face. So we would have to like, it wasn't the instant gratification. Like you had to look cute when the camera came around, and you hoped that you got spliced in the edit, and then you would see it like in a few days on the video on the MySpace bulletin.
It was always, you always wanted to make, because none of us had the camera phones and stuff. So
No,
it's
it's so much better.
you had to get in that Cobra Snake, but if Cobra Snake wasn't there,
Oh man,
that's why
You
we
were
love.
it if you got on
That's
Cobra
why we
Snake.
love Glenjamin. That's why we love Kid Paparazzi. That's why we
Yeah.
love Crazy Chris and Neil Favilla, because they would take pictures of us too, not just Corey Kennedy and Steve Aoki. So we got everybody. Eventually had to get their coverage.
Yeah.
I love that video when you sent that to me, because that reminded me that you used to have to do those, and it wasn't just Insta stories that disappeared. Like it was a little more special when you got. It was almost like our era's equivalent of like getting in a zine or something like that. Like if you got in like Herb or Mix Mag as like a picture of a party person, like.
So from what I remember, Steve, Adam didn't play that night, right? Wasn't he just there?
No,
like he came to see Steve play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the night that he heard
That's
Steve
the
saying, "Hi, cutie! Look at that little cutie!
Hi.
Happy
This is
Valentine's
Evelina.
Day!"
This is Evelina.
Valentine's Day. Now
Oh
we'll
my
go
God,
grab my
she's
baby.
gorgeous. Yeah, get your baby.
He's crying over there. Here.
We love the baby. Glenjamin says he was my snake. It's true. Glenjamin was my snake. Yo, shout out to DJ Audio 1, who's in the booth. My brother, feeling better. That's what's up. You know, there is such a cavalcade of stars. I don't even know where to begin. Gina, we had Louisa sent in a video. I don't know if you
She
caught that,
did?
but she did. She sent in some very touching words about that night, and she said similar things to you about, you know, Adam's impact on us and how he made us all better people and put us kind of all where we are today. And I think it's fantastic that we're all still here together, and that we can still have fun and enjoy this music, and it still sounds fucking great.
Hey.
And
She said, "Hey," when you cursed.
I'm sorry. It still sounds super great, and I'm gonna Venmo you $1 in their swear jar.
Venmo you $1, okay?
I'm gonna Venmo you $1 because I swear it. I'm sorry, sweetie.
Say thank you.
Yeah. Yoli says, Gina, we need you to make a comeback. And I say, Gina never went nowhere.
Gina never left.
Oh,
Don't call
you
it a
know,
comeback. Me and Gina played together not too long before lockdown in North Carolina for like, I don't know, like 14-hour set or something like
I
that.
wore my DJ AM Gucci crew neck sweatshirt.
Yes, you did.
You know, I honestly, I like felt him. I'm mad spiritual, obviously.
You're mad spiritual.
I'm mad spiritual.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there slowly every day.
But I honestly, no joke, I really could feel Adam with us that night.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I
when
was
you're a
crying. I
presence
cried.
who's as large as him, I mean, I
Yeah.
put him in no hyperbole, like Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix,
Right.
Louis Armstrong, you know, people who were the best
Yeah.
short time or whether they lived their entire lives, their effect will always be felt, and you know what they did for us. You know, there are people that play music well and we love to see them, and then there are people who change the course of history with what they do. And Adam, time and time again, steered the course of what DJing could be. When I first met Adam, there was no future in DJing. Like, the oldest DJ was maybe Grandmaster Flash, and he was in his like late 30s. So it was like, you know, but now we have Fatboy Slim and David Rodigan and MK and people who, and Carl Cox, and people who are still at the top of their game. And then sometimes you lose someone too soon. But when you see a set like this, you're reminded that they were better 13 years ago than anyone will ever be, no matter what, because it was better and it was different and it changed, and people now are doing what we just, who at the time didn't hear it and maybe don't even know who he is, but what they're doing is a direct result of the work that he put in. Like, if you're working in Vegas and you're making more than $100, like, you can thank Adam Goldstein for that. If you were able to have a crossover career in EDM, you know, but you didn't come from rave culture, but you got all your stuff from blogs, and you were able to be, you know, generation, I think, from Jesse Marco, who I saw in the chat, and other people, you know, that is a direct result of the work that Adam put in, and he was well compensated for it. But please believe that his work was tireless and that he never stopped striving to be better and do more work. And even after the plane crash, like that last year of his life, he DJ'd for Jay-Z and he played at Coachella, and he still showed up to every other banana split, and he put DJs on, and he never stopped. Like, I sleep for 3 days a week sometimes, and I do whatever I want to do, and I'm very lucky. But I am constantly, that's why I keep, you know, this is a constant reminder that no matter what's going on, I get to do what I get to do, whether it is working hard or whether it is relaxing, in no small way because of Adam Goldstein and the sacrifices that he made, not just for the rest of us, but like specifically for me and you, Gina, and Kevin and Steve and Valerie. Like, he went to Riverside and he took that time to talk to young Gina. And Kevin, he couldn't have been where he was without Fat Wax and the records that you were putting out, and he knew that, you know. And I remember that first time we all hung out, and he said, like, yo, like, those records are important, like, you get Friday nights and Saturdays at LAX, and like, you're like, he just knew, like, he was always sober and all he cared about was DJing. So he had a very clear view, and much like in the time of Banana Split, where I was mostly sober, you know, I smoked weed and had a couple cocktails, but I was there every week from 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. and I saw everything from start to finish, and I understood how everything happened, and I saw the moves that people made, and that Steve Aoki made, and that will.i.am made, and that Dexstar made, and the ripple effect, you know, everything from us doing Lady Gaga's like first LA show, or Kesha, LMFAO, AC Slater, people who are some of the most relevant people in the world today, Diplo, MIA, Santi Gold came to Banana Split and sang into a microphone. Like, these are the voices of our generation, and we created a place for them, all of us together. And it was shepherded and led by Adam Goldstein, aka AMG, aka DJ AM, the fucking greatest to ever do it. And I know that everyone in the chat agrees with me, and I dare you to argue.
Hey, Mike, I want to share a story on what you're talking about.
Yes.
So in 2009, you know, there was a lot going on for Adam, especially the summer before he passed away. And he had his gig that he was driving out to in Vegas. It rained. He didn't fly unless he had to. So we drove together out to Vegas, you know, 3.5 hour drive just in the car. And he like put his phone away, which is very unusual, right? Because usually always on his phone or doing something. And we drove out there, and Michael Jackson had just passed away, like a couple days before we left. And anybody that knows classic AM knows MJ made up a huge part of some of his routines. And he was still like, we must have spent 2 hours. Yeah, we must have spent 2 hours in the car. And he's like, Kevin, what am I going to do, man? I gotta do right by Michael Jackson in my set tonight, and I haven't had time to practice. And like, his whole mind was just about like, how can I be better DJing tonight, because Michael Jackson passed away, and I've got to like, you know, do justice, you know. And that was like Adam in a nutshell for me, was like just this constant striving, even when he had so much other shit going on in his life. What was most important to him was like performing and spinning, and like kind of tells you who he was, you know.
1,000%. And I think because of that resolve and that drive is why when we found this DVD, I didn't rush. I was just like, how do we do this? Like, I wanted to see you guys. I wanted to watch this with you guys. I wanted to let people know. A lot of people don't know, you know, who Valerie is and who Steven is. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know. You watch that video. I mean, let's talk about this.
Someone called me Liza Minnelli in the chat, and I feel like, fuck you, first of all, but also a great compliment. Thank you.
But yo, Liza Minnelli's a legend, though.
That's true. I'll take it.
Was the Riverside Shuffle invented at Avenue?
You know what? I'm gonna claim it, and I'm not gonna look at the
let's
chat
do it.
to see who's gonna dispute.
We're gonna
me.
say it right here.
It's so exclusive, though.
Every
like,
day they were shuffling,
and you want to like.
And then, every day they were shuffling, but in the beginning they were only shuffling like once or twice a week, and it was at you guys' parties. And then Red Foo saw it, and he saw it, and then
right?
There was a time when I was driving around LA, and literally every day they were shuffling. You would see 13-year-old kids in their driveway, people shuffling in supermarkets, like every day they were shuffling. And I do believe, I mean, it was initially called the Riverside Shuffle, was the original name for it. I believe DJ Paparazzi was the first person I ever heard call it that. Because we were at Dance at Arena, and I was like, "What is that dance that everyone's doing?" And he's like, "It's the Riverside Shuffle."
We had to hop hard to the beats. I don't know.
You did. They had that. What is that song from that trailer? Gina, do you know that? I heard you. I think I heard you singing along.
I was singing along, but I can't remember the name of that song.
It's such a banger. Oh my god.
Klaxons? Was it Klaxons?
Is that what it is? Is it the Klaxons?
Yes. Oh, Shazam!
Yeah. It was
Shazam.
Good job.
Yes. Woo.
So dope.
Yeah.
So dope.
I'm gonna have to go do bedtime.
Yes.
I'm like taking I'm here. I'm hanging.
We're actually gonna do bedtime. We're gonna talk for a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna raid fashion. But Valerie, thank you so much for joining and for finding the flyers and that video, and for, you know, throwing that party and just being a great person that we love. And
thank you so much for putting this all together. This was so nice. So nice to see everybody and hear from everyone, and I hope to see you all soon.
Give it up. One's in the chat for Valerie, everybody. All right, so we're gonna wind it up here. Let's do let's see if I have any notes that make any sense. The whole thing is a journey of like music and magic. Okay, that's not gonna fly. Um,
I gotta. Can I share something?
please, please.
I'm sorry. I'm like running around my house taking care of my dogs and my cats. But listen,
All good.
there's something that's like on my heart because I have really. Did we talk about AM saying "feed the soul, starve the ego" yet?
That is a very popular
Yeah.
quote that we've seen in the chat. I know
Oh,
I've met
yeah.
people who have it tattooed on them, and Morse Code and I were on the phone for like an hour the other night talking about what that means to us. And
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
I mean, like for me, I feel like he was really onto something. Like he was like this mystical magi man with that one because
Yeah,
really, if you think about what the pandemic has done to us all, it shows us what's important, right? It really like hyper makes everything super aware. But when I think about like him living his life with that motto, it's really what life comes down to, right?
Yeah.
So and he, as huge as he was, like he still played this little tiny bar for Luisa's like sober birthday because it was just like all the people like for her sober anniversary, and, like
Yeah.
no matter what, he showed up, you know what I'm saying? And he showed up for the people he loved. There was never this, he knew he was good, you know what I'm saying? But you never felt like his ego ever. And if we can all like heal our egos and heal into that kind of mentality in life, we're just
It's
going to
true.
be better human beings.
And I think that his journey is how he was able to do that and use
Right.
that saying more and more. I stopped my story short earlier, and I'm glad you brought it up, was because I was saying that kind of third and last incarnation of AM, where he came back to the people, came from a place where he, I think, wasn't showing up for a lot of stuff, and he was so busy that he couldn't go see other DJs, and his kind of doing Banana Split and giving back, like obviously he didn't drink, but he knew that everybody wanted to party, so he would put the crate on the dance floor, and then he would have liquor at his house for the after party, and he would come to Dim Mak, and like we would get fucked up, but he would deal cards at the poker table because he was the only one that was sober enough to like count the cards and like keep the game moving. Like he was able to be a part of our lives, and he would come to my gigs and he would come to your gigs, and he would come play at Avenue because he wasn't fucked up and he wasn't tired because he had been partying all night, and he like you can show up, and he knew that there was times where he didn't have to, but he knew that it would make us happy and that it would make the night better, and that it was important that he was there because it would mark, like it was like, oh shit, like that guy's here, and people wouldn't know who I was if he wasn't in the booth. Like just having him watching me play and having other people see him caring what I was doing probably took me further than any like mix or promo or press pick ever could, and the times that he would take to do stuff like that. Like and that goes back to even before he was famous, when he was just DJing for Crazy Town. I gave him my mixtape when we first met, and he actually listened to it, and months later that's how we became friends. I ran into him in a restaurant and he's like, yo man, I had your tape, and I went on tour. And that's why to this day I try to take as much time. I said this at his memorial. I said, if you can't take all the time, because you have to starve your ego to the point of you got to give it a little snack sometimes, like otherwise you still got to feel like a rock star when you go on stage.
I'm glad you said that, because
Gina, your microphone's not working.
Can you hear me now?
But basically,
my mic's
yeah,
not
you got to
working?
rock that shit. I lost my train of thought there, as I will, because I have not been sober all my life.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Wait, my microphone is working.
Yeah.
Can you guys? Is anyone else mic working?
Yeah, my mic's working. What I was saying.
Anyone?
Hello?
Is it just me?
I think it's just you.
Kevin?
Yeah, it's just you.
It's just you.
It's you.
Hello?
It's you.
You.
I can't hear anybody. I don't know what happened. It
So
says I'm
wait.
in the show and everyone can see and hear me, but I can't hear anyone. So I'm gonna refresh the page and see what happens.
So
All right.
what I like about what Mike just said. Mike just said something really poignant, because in all these spiritual traditions, including yogic philosophies and all these spiritual traditions everywhere, they say get rid of the ego, right? And
There we go.
that's not possible. We need
Yes.
to have a healthy ego to tell us what's a healthy mushroom, what's a poisonous mushroom. You know what I'm saying? What kind of mushroom is gonna send me into outer space, you know, whatever that is. And so when we hear get rid of the ego, that's impossible. So
Well, starve
what
the ego.
he was
But
on,
please
no,
believe that
no,
AM
no, what I'm
felt
saying,
himself in a very strong way.
yeah, 100%. He knew, but 100%. But what I'm trying to say is,
He knew he was better than all of us, and so he could be very comfortable.
starving the ego, he was actually really forward thinking,
Yes.
because everyone else, including high yogis, say get rid of the ego, right? He said starve the ego. You need to
Yes.
make sure that you don't feed into that. So that
Yes.
just means to me, have a healthy ego.
And it's, you can have a
Yeah.
you can comfortably have a healthy ego when you are that good.
Yes.
And there are plenty of people
Yes.
who are not that good who have to be much bigger dicks. You know, I'm not going to name names. We can all make assumptions. But you know, AM did not do that, and
Right.
and to the day he died, he was looking out. He was looking out for all of us, and he also knew like what was important work, and that's why we put this work into this night and did this, because I still have tinnitus in my left ear because of the monitor at Banana Split. Like, that's a direct result of this motherfucker having to have a JBL on the goddamn turntable like 2 inches from my left ear, and I still have to sleep with the TV on because of that shit. Like this is a war wound, you know what I mean? And like I'm not going deaf for nothing. Like, we're gonna keep this shit alive, and like we need to keep this sound alive. We need to know why we were doing it, and we need to all keep doing better and doing more.
There was a picture that I just found from the Banana Split days at LAX that my wife took, and I'm standing next to AM, and the monitor's like right next to me, and I have my finger in my ear, and like I have tinnitus still to this day. I stopped DJing 7 years ago, and my ears still ring, and I
what it is?
I could blame it on myself, but I prefer to just say Adam had a big role in that, because the monitors were so damn loud. He blew out so many JBL Eons. Like,
oh my god, they would rust by the end of the night. You would get there and it would sound great, and then at the end of the night, it was just sounded like a old rental car with a subwoofer that was too loud or something.
Yeah. The shocking part about this video is how good the audio is. Like, every video that I've ever seen of Adam, it's like pure distortion, because the monitor's so loud and the club is so loud, and it just sounds like crap because, unless it was recorded right off of his mixer. But this one sounds good.
Very luckily for us, the sound was set very low on the original file, and I was able to Alex Greggs from South Raucous was able to take it, and he split it up and he got it to where it is, and hopefully Steven will find this actual audio recording. And we'll have a clean audio recording, and we'll get to hear the rest of the set.
Yeah.
And I see DJ Spider is saying we got to have a Clubhouse or another Twitch session for more stories. There's a million stories.
I
met DJ Spider. I met Morse Code. I met Small Town DJs. All these people that I see in the chat, I met at Banana Split, and these are my closest friends, to this day.
Connected so many people, man.
Yeah, without being in that place, I would just still be. I mean, who knows? I don't even want to know. It wouldn't have been as fun. I know that much. Nika Palooza says, me. I don't know what that means. Oh, starve the. Shout out to Nika Palooza. Thank you for modding.
Yeah.
It's all caps, and it's a lot of insanity. But Nika was there the whole time. I believe she was locked in the office one night or something. She told me a story the other night that was great. And I want to once again shout out everyone who helped. First and foremost, Stephen Griffin for making this DVD and handing it to me. DJ Gina Turner and Louisa for getting AM there somehow and opening up the night, and
That was
sharing
crazy.
your
I think
stories.
that
And
was
being staccato, you guys were incredible, man. And you know, the work we did back in the day as Major, me and you and Brian Linares and Luisa and Acid Girls,
oh my god, that was the best. We
was
did like
beautiful.
the
And of course,
underground.
Kevin Scott for running DJ AM Lives and just generally
Thank you for
being
that.
the man and direct music service. Small Town Pete, who helped produce the show. DJ Zimmy, who absolutely slayed it and technical produced and was behind the scenes and put this all together. Stevie B, who helped us rip the original DVD. Alex Greggs, who did the audio. DJ Morse Code for that beautiful, touching opening set. He had me crying before we even started with some of the things he was saying and playing. DJ Ivy, who's wonderful and helped us do the graphics. And, of course, DJ Fashion, who we are now going to raid, who was the unofficial, or actually official, you know, fourth resident of Banana Split. We had Fashion play so many times and share so many epic memories of him being there. And we are going to after party with him, and keep it going.
Let's do this.
And so, is there any final statements, my friends?
Thank you for putting this together, Mike. Like,
we all did
you
it
rock.
together, you know.
Sorry, I was late. I like totally. It was a long day.
It's a long day. It's a party. You get there when you get there. You got here right on time, babe. It's all good.
Okay, cool.
And this video, we taped this whole thing. So the recording of tonight, and possibly the set on its own. Stay tuned to DJ AM Lives, on all platforms.
I got a question I want to ask Gina, actually.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'll start out with a little preface. So one of the things like we talked about already was getting Adam to come and play like different gigs. Like him and I shared a love of 80s music, and I used to get him to drive all the way to Laguna Beach and play a party that was down there on Tuesday nights with my buddy Albie. And he would just come down. Nobody was expecting him, and everybody would bug out when he'd show up, and he'd just play 80s tunes because that's what we like to do, right? So how did you get him to come to do this gig? Like, what did you say?
I'm gonna tell you what happened. So I was telling him about this gig. I told him about the Wednesday night. What was the Wednesday night?
Bordner's?
No.
Oh, no, the heist. Thursdays
the heist.
at Quarantine Gardens.
It's insane. This is insane. This is crazy. And then I'm like, Adam, it's a Wednesday night. And then I went to Avenue, and it was like even more insane. And I was just, honestly, when I'm really passionate about something and something's really awesome, like it seeps out of my pores. You know what I mean? Like when I don't like something, you'll know too. But but yeah, so I was literally, I think I was on instant messenger with him. Like, I just came from the craziest night. You have to just come. And then I think I showed him, I don't remember.
I did the same thing with him with Do Over. You just knew, because you knew he was going to rock it.
Yeah.
And if you were at a place where you knew it and you were good enough friends with him that you knew if you like really leaned on him, and he would keep you guessing to the last minute, like an hour before the Do Over, he was like, I might go to this meeting, homie. These fools dressed like Cameo. I might like, it was just like,
totally did that.
And like, I had to convince him. I was like, you need to come to this place. Like, we're all waiting for you. And like, but like, you knew that he would eventually show up and that he would kill it. And even if he dragged his feet, like, when it was done, like, he would be like, I fucking rocked that shit harder than anyone ever.
He was actually so pumped. I remember him being so pumped for this. And like, we had like a very, very intimate, like, instant messenger relationship where we were always like IMing or something like that.
He was big on AIM.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And like, and so like, he was like, all right, well, what should I play? I want to make sure, like, whatever. And we were kind of going back, and he was so pumped for this. I remember him like messaging me more than, I'm like asking questions, like, okay, so like what? And I'm like, yo, it's going to be dope. And it was just so cool when that happened. I remember him being like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm like, I can. You're going to love it. And I remember being
Well,
so
because also in
sweaty.
addition to the fact that you knew he was gonna kill it, you also got to be the coolest fucking kid in school when you brought like DJ AM to the party. You know what I mean? Like that was always a good feeling when you got him to come and you knew you were gonna walk in. You're like, people are gonna look at me and wonder who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? Because like I'm with the greatest DJ in the world.
Yeah.
And he was a presence, you know. So it was like everybody wins. Like he had a good time and he played, and everyone got to hear the best DJ ever, and we got to feel a special for being in the same car as him. You know, you didn't always get to leave with him, but just showing up with him was nice.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, like
he had to go to Mandy Moore or whatever else was waiting for him at 2 a.m.
No comment.
No comment. But there was some heavy names got attention.
Yeah, he was the best like that, and that's just a testament to who he was. He was so ahead of the curve that like he's like, all right, let me see what this is about, And if you think about it, it's like what you were saying. The whole crossover, the whole mainstream people making a real living on DJing here, like we have him to thank,
Yeah.
He was just the best.
Well, there's a uniting there, the same way that he brought, we had like Paris Hilton and Boys Noise and Stretch Armstrong and DJ Premier and Will I Am and Zombie Nation and Soul Wax, and I mean even Daft Punk came to Cinespace from AM's house one time. Like that was that because he was at the top. I believe it was Diplo who said that if DJing is a house, then like AM lives above the roof or like something like that. It was like
I remember that.
He's not even like in the house. He's on top of it all, and like we all get to have shelter because of him. And I think that that's accurate, and that's being said by a man who's at the top of the game, who also influenced Adam. So it's a big back and forth. Like in any musical history, you have the greatest, and as long as they know where they came from, and we take time to tell the correct story, which is why we did this way, because if we don't tell the story, I believe I heard Haitian Jack say this earlier today. He's like, there's a lot of things you're supposed to keep to yourself and that other people don't know, but also like if you don't tell the story the way it happened, somebody else is just gonna paint it in a different light and run off. And so we need to take control of our own stories and tell them the way that they happen. And that's why I wanted to have you, Gina, and Steven and Kevin, because I wasn't even there for that night. But I can talk about what happened leading up to that night, and I can talk about what happened after. And I got this motherfucking DVD. So, we all play a part in the story, but you need someone to set it off, and AM was the man. And we should say, Kevin, we should talk about the documentary real quickly before we go out.
Yeah, I can't say anything really other than there will be some big news very soon about the doc. Currently, it's not available to rent or purchase, which I think a lot of people have hit me up about. But there's going to be some news very soon, so stay on the Instagram, DJ AM Lives, and the website, of course. And when I'm able to, I will give an announcement on everything that's happening with that.
It is a fantastic movie for anyone who's never seen it. It tells the very real story. It is a beautiful, incredible, miraculous, and devastatingly sad and interesting story about our friend who we love. And unfortunately, due to some of the things I was referring to earlier, where, you don't always have control of the story, but we can try to take as much control of it as we can, and that's why we do nights like tonight and try to give you guys the exact story on what happened, and so that there's no mistakes. I think we got it right, and I'm so happy that we had 300 people with us tonight and that thousands will go on to see this, and generations can be influenced by this music, and this little cutie right here can watch it on another day.
Yes.
And we're running the hearts. Shout out Nika Palooza. Shout out Hyphy Crunk. Shout out Valerie and Stephen Griffin and Brian Linares.
Oh.
And Luisa and Gina Staccato in the house. Kevin Scott, I love you. You know,
bro.
We did it. And we are going to keep it going. We're going to party with DJ Fashion because
let's do it.
The conversation goes on, and we'll be talking about this for the rest of our lives. And so we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to hit this button, and then we're going to be moments away from partying with the god, DJ Fashion.
Peace, everybody.
I fucked it up already. I messed it up. But we are going to do it. I love you guys.
$2 now in the swear jar.
That's $2.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
See you, Gina.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
I do believe that was a success, Kevin Scott.
I think you're right, Mike B. I think you're right. That was a lot of fun. I think you're right, Mike B.
There we go with the volume. How long did I mess up the raid? Do I need to do more?
I don't think we're at Fashion's place. Doesn't look like Fashion's place.
There we go. They're ready to raid.
Let's do it.
I've done it. I did it.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, sick. Yo, dude, hold on. I think we do. Zimmy, can you take us off the air?